Road markings, similar to boards, regulate the traffic, and drivers are obliged to follow the indication given by road markings. Road markings in general indicate priority, where you can drive or not to drive, and where you are located. There are different types of road markings, and each will be explained. Temporary lines. As you can see on this picture, temporary lines have yellow color, and you have solid yellow line and broken yellow line. When you have solid yellow line, you are not allowed to cross the line, and when you have broken yellow line, you are allowed to cross the line. Permanent lines have white color, and you have solid white lines and broken white lines. Similar to yellow lines, when you have solid white line, you are not allowed to cross the line. And when you have broken white line, you can cross the line. Keep in mind, temporary lines take precedence over permanent lines. This means when you have white and yellow line on the same road, you have to follow the yellow line. The white lines and indications are no longer valid. You have to follow temporary lines and indications. Shark teeth. As you can see on this picture, this is shark teeth. Shark teeth indicate priority. The drivers behind the shark teeth have to give right of way to the drivers on the main road. This means the drivers behind the shark teeth are approaching the main road from side road, and the drivers from side road have to give right of way to the drivers on the main road. White stop line. You can find white stop line alongside the stop sign and traffic light. The drivers behind the white stop line have to give right of the way to the drivers on the main road. When you approach white stop line alongside the board, this means you are approaching the junction from a side road. This is similar to the shark teeth, but there is only one difference. And the difference is when you approach shark teeth, if there is no crossing traffic, you don't have to stop. However, when you approach white stop line, even though there is no crossing traffic on the main road, you have to stop, watch to your left and right, and when there is no crossing traffic, you can proceed. White stop line is placed on the junctions where the view is limited due to the trees or any other objects, and that's why the drivers are obliged to stop. On some junction, white stop line is placed far from traffic light or a stop sign. This is because the road is very small, and when big vehicles like truck wants to turn to the right, they should have enough space to make the turn. And if you are stopping ahead of the line, you might block them from turning. Hatch marking. Hatch marking is placed ahead of lane turn to the left or to the right. Hatch marking provide protection for the turning drivers. You are not allowed to drive on H marking. And if you drive, you violate traffic rule and you can get fined. Keep in mind, during the practical test, when you approach a junction with white stop line, and if you do not stop, you might fail the test. Solid line. You can find solid lines close to bends, tunnels, slopes, and places where changing the lane or overtaking is dangerous. That is why you are not allowed to cross solid line. Broken line. You have long broken line and you have short broken line. Long broken line warns you of hazards, and short broken lines separate the lanes. And you also have combined solid and broken lines. As you can see in this picture, you have broken and solid lines. The drivers on this side of the road are not allowed to cross solid line in order to overtake. But the drivers from other side, they have broken line and they are allowed to cross the line in order to overtake. As you can see on this picture, bus carriageways and bus lanes are separated by solid line, and bus lane can only be used by public transport and touring bus. Other drivers are not allowed to use bus lane. Turning lanes at the junctions. Arrows at the junction indicates which lane you have to follow. As you can see in this picture, when you want to turn to the left, you have to be on this lane. If you want to proceed straight ahead, you have to remain in one of these two lanes. And when you want to turn to the right, you have to take rightmost lane. When you have broken line, you are allowed to change the lane. Once you reach solid line, you are not allowed to change the lane. And you are also not allowed to turn from other lanes than dedicated. For instance, if you are in one of these two lines, you are not allowed to turn left or right. You have to choose your lane in advance. Acceleration lane. You have to use acceleration lane in order to merge to the motorway and motor road. Acceleration lane is separated by broken lines. As you can see, close to acceleration lane, there is a solid line placed. This is to prohibit the drivers to change the lane close to merging point. Deceleration lane. You have to use deceleration lane in order to exit motorway and motor road. Once you reach the solid line here, you are not allowed to merge the motorway again. Also, the road markings indicate combined acceleration and deceleration lane. In this lane, the drivers can merge and exit the motorway. On acceleration lane, deceleration lane, and also combined acceleration and deceleration lane, you are allowed to overtake from right. This board, in combination with road marking, indicates diverging point. Diverging point separate two different motorways. and the merging point on the motorway indicates the merging between two motorways. You can find diverging point and merging point on the motorway. Route markings also indicate location, maximum speed, and whether you are allowed to overtake or not. The small broken lines on two sides of this road indicates that this road is located outside the build-up area and there is no separation line. From this marking, you can notice that this road located outside the build-up area and the maximum speed is 60 km per hour. On the road outside the build-up area, where the speed is 80 km per hour, the two sides of the road is marked with a small broken line and either broken or solid line in the middle of the road. On the motor road, the roads are marked with solid line on both sides and two solid line in the middle with one solid green line in between. In this kind of the road, the maximum speed is 100 km per hour. On the motor road, you are not allowed to cross the middle line. It is forbidden and also very dangerous. Road marking indicates pedestrian crossing. When pedestrians want to cross the road, you have to give them right of way, and you are not allowed to overtake close to a pedestrian crossing. Zigzags or hazard warning lines. This line indicates that you have to approach the intersection carefully. This zigzag line is placed before dangerous crossing junction. Dangerous crossing junction means that your view is limited and you might not see other drivers or road users in advance. Do not block. On some crossing point, you see this cross point. This means if you have to stop for the red traffic light, you are not allowed to stop on this crossing point, because when the traffic light is red, this gives the opportunity to the drivers from side road to enter the main road. Small white broken lines separate the lanes on a road. Blue parking desk zone line. Some parkings are marked with blue line. This means you are allowed to park your vehicle for a limited time indicated on the board, and you have to use parking desk and set up your arrival time and put the parking desk on the dashboard so that it is visible.